Hello, everyone. I all hope you had a very, very wonderful, blessed evening and an afternoon and a morning. I hope you all had a very blessed evening and a great, great morning indeed, guys. Very sorry for shooting this late again. I was exactly walking my dog, giving universe some sort of breathing fresh air for her to successfully walk as well, in order for her to exactly have some fresh air as well. As you can see, guys, today is extremely, superly, extremely hot, as in like very, very, very hot. Not exactly like the same day where it was super cold and unlikely cold. It is exactly extremely very hot. Well, either way, guys, despite that, I'm very grateful for your support and also watching and viewing my episodes. It means a lot to me. God bless you all completely. So I'm very quietly grateful. For those of you guys who will be able to receive the shorts video today, I won't be able to upload the whole video, the whole episode of the whole video and exactly today. So you'll only receive it on Monday for those of you who are watching it on Monday. But for those of you, you'll be only receiving it on Monday. For those of you who exactly will also be able to watch the Monday episode completely. So I am having a bit of a traveling problem in uploading it on Friday. But you'll receive the shorts for those of you who are watching shorts. So anyway, on today's episode, we're to talk about a very powerful ancient assassin and supervillain known as Shadow Skull, who is a member of the Order of Darkness that wants to restore power to the sacred world and to humanity and to the known worlds as well. That exactly works on the behalf or that works exactly on the behalf of the ancient group of supervillains known as the Founders, who wants to become the sole rulers of the cosmos and of the rest of the known universe in the process as well, to further their own plans. Let's exactly begin. In Shadow Skull's early life, he exactly remained on an island volcano where he was completely able to train his crew of assassins and dark magic users or followers at his command, which he completely exactly guided and taught them the ways of how to use their dark abilities and their dark magical powers and abilities as well. During at the time, Shadow Skull exactly began creating cybernetics and prosthetics technology in order to make sure that the Shadow Empire would remain at the top of the game, meaning at the top of the game, meaning in other words, would remain the most powerful dominant force in the entire known universe and in the sacred universe as well. Despite this, guys, Shadow Skull exactly loved and appreciated the original Lord of Magic and quietly viewed him as a master and also as a leader of the Shadow Empire. He continued to secretly supply the Shadow Empire warlords and commanders with powerful, advanced, and highly integrated technology and prosthetics and cybernetics as well technology in order for them to exactly control their powers and their ability, in order for them to enhance their powers and their abilities against fighting against their opponent and their adversaries as well in the process of a battle. Despite this, exactly, Shadow Skull became more highly convinced that the Shadow Empire deserves to remain at the top of the food chain. To this end, Shadow Skull received a very powerful message from the original Lord of Magic to exactly telling him to kill and wipe out the Four Nation Hunters, who are becoming a thorn and a problem and a nuisance to his mission and to his goals as well. And Shadow Skull was happily to oblige in the mission and the objective to execute the Four Nation Hunters once and for all. He dispatched an army of dark magic users of his followers and assassins in order to attack the Four Nation Hunters within their home city known as Sacred City. There, the dark magic users besieged the entire city with their dark magic, and the other dark assassins launched their arrows and bows against the Four Nation Hunters. Shadow Skull exactly revealed himself within the shadow as he continued to monitor the battle and watching the Four Nation Hunters being gratefully slaughtered. But in a matter of fact, they were quietly protected and saved by the great interference of Zendak of not exactly of Zendak of Zachanus Darkness and Valakal Fire, who were the most powerful evil Four Nation Hunters and the most deadliest super criminals in the entire Four Nation Hunter database and throughout the sacred world as well, who saved their own people from being exterminated and from being wiped out by the enemy. To this end, Zacchaeus Darkness came to believe that Shadow Skull is a very unlikely any foe or any adversary or any monster or any dark witch or any powerful adversary they've ever encountered throughout their whole lives and throughout their whole journey. But despite this, Zacchaeus Darkness exactly decided to fight against Shadow Skull hand in hand to combat, and Shadow Skull completely overpowered him and completely took him down. As in, he didn't exactly show no mercy at the end throughout Zacchaeus Darkness, and Shadow Skull decided in order to exactly show his power and his worth and his abilities to Zacchaeus Darkness. He told Valak Hellfire that he is very quietly appreciated of the Shadow Force's work and also the goal to exterminate, wipe out the supernaturals and the aliens and the superhumans in the process, and that he quietly believes in the goal and also in its mission to cleansing the sacred world and the sacred universe from all monsters and from all creatures as well alike. And Belak Hellfire and Zacchaeus Darkness were completely enlightened by Shadow Skull, and Shadow Skull decided to disappear within the shadows, and the rest of his followers disappeared within, teleported themselves, and the rest of the other dark assassins teleported themselves and also unlikely disappeared within the shadows and are never quietly seen again throughout Sacred City once again. At that time, Shadow Skull began enhancing technology and integrating Shadow Empire technology with human technology in order to see if the two would unlikely work together. During at this rate, the dark magic users exactly call upon Shadow Skull in order for him to successfully see the power core that was quietly unlikely activated. And Shadow Skull was completely pleased with these dark experiments that are completely taking fold with his greatest mission, seeing that they could exactly help the Shadow Empire remain in power and in control. Shadow Skull exactly told the four dark magic users known as the Dark Druid, the Dark Witches, the Dark Faithful, and the Winds, who are the most powerful, formidable dark magic users as well. He told the four dark magic users to begin putting out their magic and converting all their magic into the power core, which they're successfully able to do as well. And by doing so, exactly, the power core became highly activated and became more powerful and more highly activated as well. During at this point, Shadow Skull continued to exactly remain low, and until then, he exactly remained within his island home base, which is exactly a far off island within the territories of the Red Empire Nation that had quietly conquered many island worlds and island cities as well. In the process, he continued to remaining within those territories. His island is like a very much quietly of a bigger island, enough to exactly fit all his followers and his assassins in one place at once, big enough in order for him to exactly continue his operation and also to enlarging his goals as well in the process. For many years, Shadow Skull remained low and continued to remain low until then the Dark Druids and the Dark Witches continued to informing him that the original Lord of Magic is at war against the Intergalactic Coalition and against the new Universal Heroes and against the Alliance. Shadow Skull exactly told his followers and told his assassins not to do anything until the orders were further given, and also to wait for further instructions until the original Lord of Magic gives them the order. On the 1st of February, the original death of the Lord of the death of the original Lord of Magic created a power vacuum within the Shadow Empire itself, forcing every other Shadow Empire warlord and commander to secretly forming alliance with ancient groups of supervillains known as the Order of the Five, the Order of the Six, the Order of the Seven, the Founders, the Sacred Circle, the Court of Nature, the Unholy Alliance, Sacred Five as well. In return, they will exactly supply these ancient groups with destructive and powerful Shadow Empire technology. These ancient groups would secretly supply them with more worlds and with more known planets that are frequently under their sole control, and also to making sure that the Shadow Empire deliver the greatest destructive technology as ever before. On the 10th of February, Shadow Skull exactly received a visit from the Shadow Empire warlords telling him that the original death of the Lord of Magic has created a power vacuum, and they're completely here to exactly work for Shadow Skull and also to supply him with destructive and more powerful technology. Shadow Skull told the Shadow Empire warlords that he will exactly supply them with more worlds and with more ancient cities that they successfully be put under his sole control as well in the process. And the Shadow Empire warlords were very successfully pleased with this, as in completely very successfully pleased with this proposal and in this enlightenment as well. On the 20th of February, Shadow Skull began launching a siege against the magic cities, that are within the mountain. For doing so, he started bringing an entire army of super war criminals and of the worst of the worst to help him conquer the magic cities and putting them under the control of the Shadow Empire. By doing so, he even exactly plunged a symbol flag symbolizing the Shadow Empire symbol on the cities, marking it that the Shadow Empire has completely controlled the city. But in doing so, Shadow Skull exactly secretly conquered that city for himself and also for his followers as well in the rate at that time as well. In doing so, he told the inhabitants that the occupation has been quietly been established and that everything else will continue going into order the way it's supposed to be. The citizens, the warlocks, the witches, and the fairies were forced to creating powerful, destructive, magical technology, and the followers of Shadow Skull created a huge Shadow Empire dark factory near to the magical cities that were quietly within the mountain. A huge Shadow Empire factory that quietly builds and creates destructive and powerful weapons and highly destructive technology that will be quietly used in order to win the sacred galactic war for sole control over the known worlds and over the known civilization in the process. Shadow Skull remained at the sacred world Shadow Empire palace within the magical cities, which they quietly built it and upgraded the magical cities, palaces, and temples as well. And he exactly remained at the headquarters of the sacred magical cities royal palace, and exactly said that his followers exactly told him that the scouts have exactly reported the few Shadow Empire warlords have successfully come in order to meet him. The Shadow Empire warlords and commanders successfully met up with Shadow Skull on the 21 of February, telling him that the city is completely under your control, Shadow Skull, which means in other words, Shadow Skull is the sole rulers of the magic cities and of the magic worlds. But the Shadow Empire warlords and commanders systematically warned the Shadow Skull not to underestimate the universal heroes or the universal earth heroes or the universal founders, the United Heroes and the Phoenician Hunters and the Intergalactic Coalition as well, especially with the abilities in thwarting his operation and his plans as well. Not to ever again take them lightly, completely. They are not meant to be underestimated. And Shadow Skull was completely rebuxibly, as he exactly agreed with the Shadow Empire warlords, that exactly is highly likely agreeable that mistake cannot ever happen again as well. During the following months, Shadow Skull continued to upgrading the cities, creating highly advanced technology and more highly advanced technology, building and creating more destructive tanks and war powerful war airships and powerful battle cruisers of ships that are quietly exactly patrolling the rest of the city's oceans and everything else, and even warships and battle cruisers from who will exactly monitor the skies of the atmosphere of the planets and over the world, making sure that the entire magical world and planets and civilization remained under his sole control. Between April and May, Master Bond resigned from the Order of Darkness and also resigned from the founders and from the Sacred Circle. The founders exactly chose Silverface to become the new member of the founders and also become the new leader of the Order of Darkness between those 2 months as well. During at that time, Silverface exactly arrived on the conquered magical cities and worlds and planets that Shadow Skull has completely conquered and managed to exactly create chaos and despair and disharmony among the city. Silverface was quietly completely repulsed as he quietly met up with Shadow Skull on the on the second of May, and told Shadow Skull that he's quite impressed with his abilities and with his talents and with his greatest abilities and power, and also fanatics and expertise in conquering magical cities and known worlds and known planets in a matter of minutes and in a matter of one fell swoop. Silverface exactly told Shadow Skull that the Order of Darkness will unlikely appreciate your services and your expertise as well. If you're willing to join it, and then if you're willing to, it's exactly helping it to restore power to humanity and to the sacred worlds and to the rest of the and to the rest and to the rest of the known planets and to the rest of the known planets throughout the known universe and throughout the rest of sacred existence. Shadow Skull was completely, very much quietly, unlikely, accepting and enlightened by the proposal, and decided to become the new member of the Order of Darkness. He shook hands with Silverface as he remarked himself with Silverface as the associate of the Order of Darkness. He told Silverface that with his unlimited resources, the Order of Darkness would still remain in power, and it would also remain the top competitor competing against the Noten Knights Assassins Empire that quietly works on the behalf of the Order of the Five as well, which means, in other words, that the Order of Darkness will be the most powerful sacred terrorist organization throughout the rest of sacred existence by any means necessary. Restoring power is what exactly that it will take, and Shadow Skull completely agreed with Silverface that if they can exactly partner, that can exactly work together and combine their ultimate resources, their organizations and their masters' organizations will remain in sole control over the cosmos and over the war as well. And they unlikely agreed to that. In doing so, Silverface told Shadow Skull that he has a central headquarters of his own island, which is quietly far away from his cities and from the magical worlds and home and magical worlds and other magical planets and other civilizations throughout the sacred universe, which is quietly far on the fringes of the sacred universe. Which, in other words, he told them that if he wants to successfully meet up with the other members of the Order of Darkness, he'll be happily exactly able to join them and also to convene with them and also to discuss their operations and their successful plans. And Shadow Skull was completely enlightened and decided to proceed on ahead exactly with these plans and also to furthering the plans of the founders and of the Order of Darkness in the process as well. On the 16th of May, the members of the Intergalactic Coalition of the Four Nation Hunters arrived at the magical cities, and they were gratefully shocked seeing the symbol flag of the Shadow Empire on the wall of the magical cities, and they were gratefully shocked and very unhappy to see that the magical cities have been gratefully conquered by the Shadow Empire itself, unaware that there's a sinister, mysterious adversary within that territory as well. The Four Nation Hunters Intergalactic Coalition decided to move ahead in order to liberate the city and liberating the magical creatures and the citizens as well. Within the process, they stage an incursion. Yes, they stage an incursion within the city, able to exactly rescue everyone else and liberate everyone else within the city. Shadow Skull was completely very much well aware of that, and he told the four dark magic users in order to launch a staging attack ground on the Four Nation Hunters, which they successfully did until the Universal Magic Heroes arrived in the nick of time in order to intervene and attacking the four dark magic users. The Universal Magic Heroes realizing that these four dark magic users are very, very, very powerful and are very gratefully skilled in the dark arts and in dark magic, that defeating them was not going to successfully work, but rather to decimate them. Unfortunately, they were able to lose the battle in quick such notice, and they were able to liberate all the people out, and the magical creatures and the rest of the citizens decided to completely fight back against the enemy until the Four Nation Hunters of the Intergalactic Coalition told them that it's quite pointless to fight against the unknown adversary, the unknown enemy that they don't completely understand yet. It's best for the people and the rest of the magical creatures to heavily retreat and exactly move away from the city. They'll be able to live on the other magical villages and towns within the area that are quite far away from the conquered capital magical cities as well, which the Universal Magic Heroes were quietly unimpressed with this. Shadow Skull was completely happy that the entire magical capital city was under his sole control and under his sole dominion. He told the rest of his fleet and armadas to stand down because the Intergalactic Coalition incursion wasn't wasn't that much of a big of a problem to further his own plans and his goals as well in the process. On the 16th of May, on the 16th of May, on the 16th of May, Shadow Skull and the rest of the under engineers and the mechanics began creating destructive and powerful weapons and highly upgraded airships and battle cruisers as well in the process. And Shadow Skull was very quietly, completely pleased with the progress of the technology and the highly advanced technology advancement that he and his followers of highly began abducting and exactly creating. During at that time, he created a hologram of Silverface where Silverface was able to exactly speak to Shadow Skull in a hologram, and he told him that the plan should exactly go accordingly to plan the way it's intended to be. The remaining controls of the other magical cities have to fall under the control of the Order of Darkness and under the control of Shadow Skull as well. And Shadow Skull completely agreed as well that it's time for him to move on to the next phase of his plan as well. On the 12th of June, Shadow Skull and the rest of his forces began launching a next siege on another magical and known worlds of colony cities that are completely not under the control of the Shadow Empire or under the control of the Red Empire or Lord Shadowjack's Empire or Dark Master's Empire or Lord Justin's Empire or Zendek's Empire or the Shadow Brothers Empire or any of the Shadow Empire Warlords and Commanders faction or any of the Shadow Empire Warlords and Commanders faction that have completely and literally unconquered those cities and magical worlds and other magical civilizations as well, and the colony cities as well in the process. Shadow Skull decided in order to conquer those colony cities and those worlds, and he destroyed the statues of the fallen heroes and of the fallen forces of evil. He destroyed the statues and everything else of them. They're representing statues of the heroes and of the bad guys. It's a representing mark that good and evil are completely at war with each other, and it's exactly show that the forces of evil were once the heroes before they became the worst of the worst villains throughout the rest of sacred history, which the people on the sacred world and on the sacred universe completely exactly able to understand that there is light within the darkness. Even if the bad guy has become the worst of the worst, there is still light in humanity within him. Despite this, Shadow Skull completely destroyed all the statues of the fallen and every single one, and his forces exactly completely moved in on the colony cities, and all their battle tanks and warships and air fleet completely moved around on top of the skies of the cities, and completely put the symbol of the flag that symbolizes the Order of Darkness and the Founders Organization, states that the Order of Darkness and the Founders are completely sole control over these cities and over these colony cities and over these magical worlds. Shadow Skull told the citizens of the colony cities of the supernaturals, aliens, and superhumans that the Founders and the Order of Darkness wants to restore power, meaning, in other words, the power belongs to the sacred people of the sacred world and of the sacred universe as well. And the people decided to successfully exactly rise up and exactly created a new statue symbolizing the Dark King and of Dark Grey and of Shadow Skull as well, symbolizing their power and their worth. They created a few statues and 6 statues in simultaneous areas, one in the middle of the city, the other on the other side of the cities, the other on the left-hand side of the city, the other on the middle side of the city, the other on the other right-hand side of the city, symbolizes their power and their ferocity and their worth and their commitment to the rest of the colony city. Despite this, Shadow Skull was very happy that the colonies of the supernaturals, aliens, superhumans completely viewed the Founders and also the Order of Darkness as saviors and as living gods, and he decided to do so to upgrade the city and highly evolved it, making sure that everything else is under control the way it's intended to be as well. On the first of June, Shadow Skull was quietly approached by one of the members of the Order of Darkness, telling him that the Order of the Five has quietly managed to decide the next fate of humanity, meaning, in other words, that the next fate of humanity has been decided and that they're already moving for the kill. And he told them also about the Universal Prince and the members of the Order of the 12 who've secretly formed a destructive and powerful alliance with the Star Prince, who is a founder and leader of the Star Empire. Shadow Skull was completely unreboxed and unpleased with this, and he told one of the assassins to keep him on loop and to keep him informed of any development of these alliances with the other organizations and with the other villains as well. Shadow Scout remained at the new royal palace of the new royal palace of the capital of the capital cities of the colony cities, and remained there meditating through his dark crystal room. And the whole year of June, he remained there meditating until the 15th of July. He was exactly able to call upon in order to train his new lead of assassins and dark followers to learning how to control their abilities and powers and their skill sets and how to murder and kill and wipe out an assassin and the universal heroes. He told his followers and the assassins never to underestimate the universal Earth Hero's ability and the universal hero's ability, especially Firebird and Universal Man, and also Rex, and also War Boy and Mind Girl and Time Boy as well. Never to underestimate those heroes, and also the new alliance in the Four Nation Hunters' abilities in thwarting the operation and the successful planning, meaning that everything else they do will reflect back on the founders and also on the Order of Darkness as well. And the followers completely agreed, and they exactly trained themselves in a swordsmanship training technique, where they were able to performing their skills in the swordsmanship. And Shadow Skull was completely proud and very happy how far his followers and his students and his proteges have successfully rose to the occasion as well. Shadow Skull remained at the throne room of the royal palace of the colony cities until he created a hologram of magical worlds and cities and planets that are thousands miles away. Even the conquered capital magical world and city that is still under his sole control, and with the giant statue reflecting on him as well. And was quite impressed that he has sole control over so many worlds and cities and planets, realizing that the Four Nation Hunters and the Universal Heroes are still waging war with the Shadow Empire, and that the new threat of the new Lord of Magic and the new secret society known as the Order of Power is secretly rising from the shadows, and that he's secretly creating and reforming his own new Shadow Empire in the process as well. And that didn't even worry or bother Shadow Scout at all. In a matter of fact, he was successfully pleased to see that everything is going according to plan, the way it was intended to go. On the 10th of August, Shadow Skull attended a video conference with the members of the Order of Darkness, where Silverface exactly told the members of the Order of Darkness that they maul and they spy within the Intergalactic Coalition and within the Universal Heroes, who will be able to update them and inform them on their plans as well. And in doing so, he can successfully spy on them, and also giving them intelligence and information. Shadow Skull began to ask Silverface how that objective be complete when the Universal Heroes exactly realize that there's a spy within their team which they can successfully able to trust each other. Silverface exactly told Shadow Skull that it's going according to plan, the way it's supposed to be. The final chess piece to the game is about to be played the way it's meant to be, the way it has to be, and the schedule is already set on tight, with the war between the Shadow Empire and the Star Empire willing to go to all-out war for sole control over the known universe and over the sacred universe and over the sacred galactic war. The founders will become the sole rulers of the cosmos, and their top competitors will be wiped out of the way, including the Universal Prince and the members of the Order of the 12 as well in the process. And Shadow Skull was completely reassured, and the rest of the members of the Order of Darkness decided to proceed on with their assignments and with their tasks and chores as well, since Silverface completely informed them and quietly enlightened them as well. Shadow Skull completely returned back to the capital magical city, where he was able to reconquer it, and remained at the Royal Palace of the Throne Room until one of his followers exactly told him that the Intergalactic Coalition has managed to liberate thousands of worlds and planets and civilizations that are formerly under the control of the Shadow Empire. Despite this, Shadow Skull was completely not happy with the progress and everything, and he learned that another secret society of supervillains known as the Dark Order was currently controlling the Shadow Empire, and that is placed under the leadership of Red Bolt, who is the current leader of the Shadow Empire and who's willing to wage war with the Star Empire. Shadow Skull exactly told his follower that he's very pleased with the news, but despite that, he was very happy that the Shadow Empire is willing to wage war with the Star Empire. And if the Universal Heroes thought and prevent that war from happening, it would successfully benefit him and the founders and the Order of Darkness in the process as well. On the 10th of September, Shadow Skull and the rest of the other dark, powerful, formidable dark magic users begin exactly attending a meeting of conquering many worlds and many planets and many territories, and exactly all the generals and warlords exactly reassured Shadow Skull that everything else is going in order by sabotaging the Intergalactic Coalition's control and cripple the other worlds and other planets, who successfully exactly place the control of other civilizations and worlds and planets and other civilizations and worlds and planets under their sole control. And the warlords exactly reassured Shadow Skull that the plan has been quietly implemented and ready to exactly proceed according to plan. And Shadow Skull was robustly happy and very successfully pleased. Shadow Skull met up with one of his proteges, one of his greatest proteges, known as Asher, and told Asher that he will one day exactly take over where Shadow Skull completely left off, and that he will become the next high-ranking member of the Order of Darkness, able to please the members of the founders and of the Order of Darkness as well, and making sure that his reign will become supreme as well in the far future. And Asher was completely, very much quietly happy, and is willing to do whatever it takes to make sure that the founders remain in control and in power over the sacred galactic war and over the sacred universe as well. And Shadow Skull was completely happy and proud of his devotion and of his great loyalty and founding loyalty to him and also to his masters as well. On the 20th of September, Shadow Skull met up with Silverface, and Silverface exactly told him that everything else has been quietly arranged the way it's supposed to be. The final steps of the game can now begin to take fold, and the game can now begin to proceed accordingly. The players have been set in motion, and everything else is ready to proceed on. Shadow Skull was completely happy and quietly, completely enlightened, telling him that everything else should be the way it's supposed to be. And Silverface informed Shadow Skull that they might be soon be at the age of darkness that will soon exactly arise one way or another, which could successfully exactly be returning with the ancient villain known as the Fallen, who will soon exactly escape from his imprisonment from the dark dimension, which he could thrust chaos and destruction to the sacred world and to the known magical worlds and to the known magical worlds in the process as well, which could disrupt his plans or either further his plans. And Shadow Skull was completely very happy and very lightened that the Fallen will once again be released from his imprisonment and from his banishment, and that his dark empire that comes from the dark universe will once again lay waste to every threat and every foe, which the founders could benefit from the destruction of their enemies and their top competitors as well in the process. Despite this, Shadow Skull was very enlightened, and he very quietly smiled that the plan is successfully going according the way it's intended to be. With Lord Clay, who is a protege of the New Lord of Magic, going rogue and exactly forming his own group of supervillains in his own ancient society, everything else could substantially fall under their sole control. And they completely shook hands and remarked of their partnership and also their associate to one another. And Silverface told Shadow Skull that it's time to implement the last phase of the game as well. Despite this, guys, Shadow Skull is very skilled in strategy, in tactician, and also in strategy and in tactician and in hand-to-hand combat, and also in swordsmanship. Very skilled and very skilled in conquering many magical capital cities and worlds of the sacred universe and many unknown nations in the process, intending to rule the magical worlds and tribes and clans of the sacred universe and of the sacred world, and is willing to make sure that in doing so he's willing to further his own plan and his own plan, and also the plan of his followers and the plan of his people, making sure that the Order of Darkness and the founders remain in control over the sacred galactic war and over the sacred universe in the process. Despite this, he's very ambitious, and his ambitions makes him dangerous and very deadly. He's very smart and very intelligent, very capable of fighting in hand-to-hand combat with his enemies and foes. He views the universal heroes as a threat and as a major obstacle that can never be understood, and he learns from his followers that the Universal Heroes and the Intergalactic Coalition and the World Heroes and the Universal Founders and the Universal Defending Heroes and the Universal Space Heroes can never be underestimated, that the abilities can never be underestimated and never to be taken lightly ever again. Despite this, he will use them in order to further his own plans and the plans of the Order of Darkness and the plans of the Founders to make sure that they successfully take place and that they successfully take place and also going according to schedule the way they are meant to be. He's a very powerful tactician and a very, very wise and very wise and completely strategic supervillain who is able to calculate the risk and everything while good in planning strategies and orchestrating events and manipulating wars and battles to his own advantages to make sure that the Order of Darkness restores power and unity and dark unity to the sacred world and also to humanity in the process, to making sure that the Founders control the narrative of humanity's thoughts and controls, and also become the sole rulers of planet Earth and of the sole rulers of the cosmos. Despite this, he believes in the Founders' mission and he believes in the Order of Darkness's mission. And despite this, he has his own plans and his own goals and his own dreams as well. That's why he's been conquering many thousands of magical worlds and capital cities under his control. And he's even created a huge hologram of many worlds and many planets and cities that he has placed under his sole control, viewing them and watching them completely, realizing that he's completely played the ultimate game and the ultimate war in controlling those worlds and cities. And he was a former subordinate and a former follower of the original Lord of Magic, which he quietly viewed as a master and a teacher to him, which the original Lord of Magic taught Shadow Skull many things and many things. Despite this, he's very skilled in creating and integrating technology all in one, and also in advancing destructive, powerful technology. He has a huge fleet of warships and battle cruisers and airships at his command, and battle tanks at his command, and an army at his command. And he uses that army to conquer many magical worlds and cities and known worlds and planets under his soul, and places those cities and worlds under his soul control, overthrowing and overruling the control over the court of nature and over the Order of the Five and over the Order of the Six as well, making sure that the Shadow Empire still holds its control and firm grip on the galaxy and of the rest of sacred existence. And he'll do whatever it takes to make sure that the Universal Prince doesn't remain in power and doesn't exactly remain in control, including over the Star Prince as well. And he'll do whatever it takes to make sure the war between the Star Prince and Red Bolt and the Shadow Empire and the Star Empire completely begin waging war against each other, which his masters, the Founders, will be able to benefit from that war, to becoming the sole rulers over the cosmos. Despite this, he maintains his usual bases of operation and as well as his central headquarters, which is very much of an island city, which is quietly on the other island worlds and other island worlds and other island worlds and other island worlds and cities that are heavily conquered and placed under sole control over the court of nature and over the rest of the Shadow Empire colonies and cities and worlds. Despite that, he'll use his central headquarters in order for him to meditate and successfully ruling. And he'll use the conquered cities and worlds and planets that is placed under his sole control as his next headquarters for him to exactly begin his operation and his plans. He is a group of followers and a group of dark evil assassins and a group of powerful, formidable proteges at his call, who will soon take his place when he dies. So that when he dies, his followers and his proteges will exactly continue on the legacy and also the dream that he successfully exactly left behind. He is not immortal, but he's very powerful and very dangerous. And he's very skillful in swordsmanship, hand-to-hand combat, agility, and endurance. And very clever and very smart. He has the ability of disappearing and the ability of reappearing at will. Just like that. He disappears where the shadows completely lie, and he completely reappears at will. And that makes him more dangerous and more unlikely, unpredictable as well. Shadow Skull is very much quite unpredictable, guys. He's an unpredictable foe and assassin. According to the Four Nation Hunters and according to Firebird, Shadow Skull must not be underestimated. He's very ruthless and very much ambitious, as he made plans to take the seat of the Order of Darkness, and he completely became a high-ranking member of the Order of Darkness, willing to restore power to the sacred world and to the sacred universe as well in the process. Well, guys, that's it for today's episode. I'll exactly see you on Monday. This episode and this video will be uploaded on Monday. For those of you who are watching shorts, you'll be able to receive the shorts today. So enjoy your weekend and your afternoon. Have a blessed evening and an afternoon as well. God bless you all. Thank you for your support in watching and viewing. Keep watching and keep viewing as well. God bless you all. Take care. Bye.